Save up to $50 at crimsontrace.com. Laser sighting systems from Crimson Trace will make you a more accurate and confident shooter. No personal protection firearm is fully equipped without a laser sighting system from Crimson Trace. Visit crimsontrace.com November 29th through December 25th and save up to $50 on the one tool no personal protection firearm should be without: a Crimson Trace laser sight. Save up to $50 now through Christmas Day at crimsontrace.com.
Catch Gun Talk live on Sundays or tune into the podcast, iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher, iPhone or Android apps any day of the week. Also on YouTube. Visit guntalk.com/listen for more details.
All right, welcome to Gun Talk. I'm Tom Gresham, your host. We got quite the lineup for you today. We're going to be talking with, a Hollywood guy, an actor that, but this is an actor you want to listen to. We're going to be getting an update on a huge courtroom decision out of California. That's a good thing. We're going to be talking about rifles. And here's a question for you. When you carry a gun, when you've got a concealed carry, you know how it is. Sometimes you go to places where you can't carry and you leave your gun in the car because you can't take your gun into the place that you're going. And it doesn't feel very comfortable because you know that people do steal guns out of cars. We'll have a solution for that as we go along here. We got a lot of things cooking, a lot of news, but we'll also be taking your comments. I got a few stories to tell you. I got a buddy of mine, that, not a gun guy, but started talking to him about it this week, and man, when he bites the hook, he swallows the whole darn thing. I think he's ordered like 45 books on guns and shooting and self-defense and concealed carry. He's asked me what gun to get. I'm going, holy cow, it is amazing when you see somebody get it. When the epiphany hits them and they go, I really have been remiss. I have not been plugged in. I have not taken care of myself. I haven't been doing the things I need to do so that I can take care of myself. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We'll talk about that. Well, maybe I'll even tell you about the incredible stalk I put on 2 deer this morning. Oh, well, okay. Well, you'll get it in just a minute. But first, it's Hollywood time right here on Gun Talk. Ermey, of course, is a very well-known actor. You probably know him better as the Gunny. Think Full Metal Jacket, okay? So we had a chance to talk with him about his new book, Gunny's Rules. I love the description. Put down your sissy drink with its umbrella, get off your backside and square yourself away. Get fit, get a job, and get yourself some self-respect. So here's the conversation we had with Ermey. All right, you've seen him in the movies, everything from Full Metal Jacket to SpongeBob SquarePants, believe it or not. It's Ermey. He's the Gunny to millions of people joining us right now. Gunny, how you doing?
Everything is in working order, and I'm up in the high desert where the air is fresh, and I'm feeling good.
Your career is fascinating. I mean, you've been known as a Marine, and that's been, a major part of your life, not just in what you did, and that's what I'd like you to address is, it's not just what you did, it's who you are.
Well, the Marine Corps retired me out. I got hurt in Vietnam. The Marine Corps retired me out in 1971, and I just kept showing up for work. I realized that I didn't, I grew up on a farm in Kansas. My nearest neighbor was about 1.5 miles away, and there were 6 boys in my family, but that was the only kids I had to play with, so they were my only friends in this world. And when I went in the Marine Corps, I realized there was all kinds of people in the country, and I met a lot of people and got to know them and befriended them. And when I got retired, I realized that every friend I had was back on the base, so I wasn't going anywhere.
It's interesting. You grew up on a farm in Kansas where, as I've always told people, I said, kids who grow up on farms just know how to do stuff earlier in life, and they understand that if you don't get it done, it won't get done. And, one of the things I personally believe is that we are raising a whole generation of people with the idea that you don't really have to try to learn to do anything until you're out of college. You don't have to try to accomplish anything. And I'm thinking about farm kids who at age 10 are driving tractors and things.
Oh, yeah, I was driving a hay truck when I was 8 years old. My dad had put it in gear for me, and and I'd just sit there and steer it. He'd go and throw the hay bales on. But nothing to it. Us boys were all, well, we'll put it this way, we were more mature, I think. I went to a country school. It was called Hornup School, just outside of Kansas City, west of Kansas City, about 18 miles where they put the speedway. But anyway, us boys always had a pocket knife in our pockets, you know. We never did knife anybody. But farm boys, heck, they matured early. Heck, I was hunting. I had a 22 bolt-action rifle. I was squirrel hunting when I was 9 years old.
Don't you think we are doing a disservice by not putting responsibility on young people?
Well, you see, that's one of the things that I cover in the book, is we have, this country has neutered, the far left of this country has neutered all the young boys in this country. One of the big headlines these days, every time I turn the TV on, I see the big headlines is so-and-so, 12 years old, committed suicide because he was being bullied or she was being bullied. You know, back in my time, if the bully came around to me out on the schoolyard, I would first try to diplomatically solve the problem. But if that didn't work, I would punch his lights out and I'd put him on the deck. And I guarantee you, after I defended myself like that, he would never, ever think about approaching me again in the schoolyard and trying to give me a hard time. Now, if the kid defends himself from being bullied, right away it's his fault. He's the one that gets kicked out of school. We have neutered our young people in this country to no extent. It's just, to me, it's really getting ugly.
It is, and we're talking about Gunny's brand new book, Gunny's Rules, How to Get Squared Away Like a Marine, brand new. This is not just about, I mean, there's a lot of stories in here about your career, your movie career and all that, but a lot of this is really life lessons.
Well, you know, I'll put it this way. We're talking about kids that are unemployable when they're 20 years old. Why was that? You know, back in the day, I was working. I had my Social Security card when I was 13 years old. I was working for all the neighbors. I was riding my bicycle a mile and a half down the road, getting a job with my neighbor farmer. I was doing his chores. He'd go on vacation. I'd take care of his chores. When I was 9, 10 years old, I was reliable to the point where my neighbor and his wife could go on vacation, and they would trust me to take care of their livestock, and that was something we did, you know, and it was cheap for him. I mean, what the heck, we charged him $1 a week or something like that to take care of his livestock. But nowadays, kids aren't even allowed to work till they're out of high school, till they're 18 years old. Another thing about our kids these days, you know, one of my buddies was approached by the principal, wanted him to coach the girls' soccer team down here. Well, he took the job on, and those girls worked hard, man. Every weekend he had them out there in that soccer field. He had them running laps. He had them getting in shape, and these girls worked very hard. Well, the first game came around, and all of a sudden, the girls are about 3 scores up on the other team, which hasn't even scored yet. And the principal comes over to my buddy and tells him, "Hey, you got to have your girls back off and let these other kids get a score because that's just the way it works. Why in the hell do we even play the game? Why don't we just send these trophies to these people? Why do we even have them show up if that's the case?" It's not teaching them how to be fair and square. It's teaching them how to turn over, how to roll over, how to be wimps. Like I say, we're neutering our kids. It's disgusting to me, and I address most of these subjects in Gunny's Rules. And I wanted to put out a simple fact that if anybody out there wants to get a copy of Gunny's Rules and have me sign it for them, I'll personalize it, sign it for them. Go to Gunny'sRules.com. That's the only place you can get that.
Gunny'sRules.com. Now, you talk in the book about getting yourself squared away. Get fit, change your attitude, work hard, reach for high goals. Who are you talking to, and this is not just for the men out there, is it?
Well, I'm talking men, women, children. I'm talking to everybody out there.
Hey, Gunny, what are your thoughts on the idea that there are some out there who say you really shouldn't get all set up to defend yourself? Just turn the other cheek, let the criminals do what they want. I mean, I got a pretty good idea of where you come down on that.
Well, those are the ones that have the stickers that talk about turn your swords into plowshares. And I figure those people that are melting their swords into plowshares will be plowing my damn field before long.
How'd you get started in guns, by the way?
Oh, heck, I grew up on a farm. I was hunting when I was 8 years old, for Pete's sake.
What kind of hunting do you like to do?
Well, I go to Africa about, in the last 5 years, I've been over to Africa 4 times. I've been in New Zealand, hunted the red stag and the tar and the chamois in New Zealand. I shot a 455-inch elk up in Canada just 2 years ago. But I black bear hunt. I want to go up to Russia next year. I'd like to go up there and get one of those big brown bears, one of them 12-footers, the ones that eat people up there when they're trying to fish. I've been a hunter all my life. Ever since I was a little kid, we've been hunting. It's 6 boys in my family. We had to keep that freezer full of game and pheasant and ducks and quail and you name it.
All right, well, now, your book, Gunny's Rules, How to Get Squared Away Like a Marine, and people can get an autographed copy if they go to, is it Gunny'sRules.com?
Gunny'sRules.com.
For anybody who wants to either get himself or herself squared away or somebody who's maybe wanting to figure out how to raise their kids right.
Yeah, well, I'm a firm believer that proper leadership and guidance produces a worthy young person.
I want to thank you for all your help on the knife rights issue that we worked together on.
Well, I'm a member of the board of directors for the NRA. You know. That's
right. I knew that.
And if we don't stick together, they want these idiots now. You know, all these people that are against guns and against knives and against men being men are people who live in the major cities in this country. They wouldn't dare think of living outside the city limits. But they want our guns and they want our knives. Now, a knife is a tool. Hell, knives are weapons. They're tools. They've been tools for years. We need those tools.
Gunny, thank you so much. I'm going to send everybody one more time. Gunny'sRules.com. You can get a copy of the brand new book from Arlie Ermey, Gunny's Rules, How to Get Squared Away Like a Marine. I wish you the best. Merry Christmas, sir.
Well, Merry Christmas to you. God bless. Bye.
Save up to $50 at CrimsonTrace.com. Laser sighting systems from Crimson Trace will make you a more accurate and confident shooter. No personal protection firearm is fully equipped without a laser sighting system from Crimson Trace. Visit CrimsonTrace.com November 29th through December 25th and save up to $50 on the one tool no personal protection firearm should be without. A Crimson Trace laser sight. Save up to $50 now through Christmas Day at CrimsonTrace.com.
You bet your life on your defense ammo. Get the proven performance of Nosler bullets in the new Nosler Defense Ammunition. Featuring the same technology as the famous AccuBond line. Polymer tip or hollow point. Bonded performance handgun bullets for weight retention and barrier penetration. Available only in Nosler Defense Ammunition in 9mm, 40, and 45 caliber. Also available in 223 with a 64-grain bullet. Visit Nosler.com.
If you carry a gun, you need training. Your concealed carry class was definitely not training. But time, money, and obligations keep you from spending days at a shooting school. The trusted folks at Gun Talk can help. Concealed Carry 1, our DVD featuring the Vada Group, covers what gun, what holster, how to carry, where to wear your gun, and much more. Visit shopguntalk.com. That's shopguntalk.com. Look, this really is life and death. Learn how to stay aware, how to get away, and how to fight if you must. At shopguntalk.com, you can get the 2 DVD set, including Fighting with the 1911 with Tiger McKee. No matter what gun you carry, this vital training info can save your life. Learn the draw, the stance, reloading, vital gear from Gun Talk. That's shopguntalk.com. shopguntalk.com.
The Ruger SR-45, a large caliber pistol with a trim, ergonomic profile. Like the popular Ruger SR-9 and SR-40, the SR-45 is perfectly sized to be comfortable and controllable with a slim, ergonomic grip and narrow slide. It features an adjustable 3-dot sight system. Ruger's unique reversible backstrap, an ambidextrous manual safety and magazine release, and built-in Picatinny rail. The Ruger SR-45, another rugged, reliable firearm from Ruger.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit sigsauer.com today.
Hi, I'm Michael Bain. You know I hate cleaning guns, so anything that makes that job faster and easier is definitely a plus. And that's where Bore Tips come in. These reusable, lint-free cleaning swabs make cleaning a breeze. And the tighter-fitting Bore Tips do a better job on barrels than cotton mops or patches. Hey, it's a dirty job. Let Bore Tips help. To find a dealer, visit boretips.com.
During December, it's the Mossberg On Patrol giveaway. Grand prize, a scoped Mossberg MVP Patrol 5.56 rifle with 10-round magazine. Other prizes include a Mossberg wall neon, ultimate backpack, soft-side shotgun cases, and baseball hats. Enter at guntalk.com/win. Now, back to Tom.
All right, open lines for a few minutes here at least. 866-825-5486. Easier if you just dial 1 and then Tom Talk Gun. That's what we're going to do. We're going to talk gun and guns, plural. Tom has done exactly that. He's called in. He's on 3, calling us from Cocoa, Florida. Hey, Tom, you looking for a shotgun?
Hey, Tom, Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir. Same to you.
I've been listening to you for the last year, singing the praises of the Versamax, how it'll eat just about everything out there for ammo. You still believe that?
Yeah, I think the Versamax is a good shotgun. Just depends on what you want to do with it.
Well, I'm looking at the tactical model of the Versamax. Now, it doesn't say if the barrel is rifled, but I was wondering if you could call your buddies over there that you have on speed dial and get those engineers to figure out a way to put a collapsible buttstock on this thing and a rifled barrel, and I think we'd have the perfect shotgun for everything.
Well, there's another way to go. Mossberg has its 500 pump shotgun tactical tri-rail with the flex system, and you can pop off different stocks and put different stocks on, so you can have adjustable stocks or pistol grips or whatever you want to put on there.
Well, the reason I like a semi-auto is so if your wife or your girlfriend picks it up, you can teach her to shoot without it all. So without the recoil, some women who aren't accustomed to shooting don't like the recoil, and you lose that to semi-auto. You don't have as much recoil, so you have that option when you're trying to teach someone else, your girlfriend or someone who doesn't like that felt recoil. So, and I just think if we could do that with the Remington, and I grew up with the Remington 1100 from age 11. So.
I got to tell you, when everything's on the line, I want a pump shotgun. I don't want a semi-auto. Just what it is. I know I can make a pump run. I know it's going to work. Here's an option for you. Mossberg has a great tactical 20-gauge pump, and it is terrific for self-defense, and you could do all sorts of training with the light loads and then stoke it up with 3-inch magnums if you want to, and honestly, there's not a penny's worth of difference between a 12 and a 20 inside regular household room distances.
So you like that 20 in the Mossberg pump? You think that would be fine for a lady to handle?
Absolutely. Well, honestly, you could train anybody to shoot 12 gauge if you start them with light loads. There are some great super light loads. Get some super light trap loads. Do all your training with that, and then just load it up with the buckshot or wherever you want for home defense. No one ever felt recoil in a self-defense situation. Trust me. No one ever did. So you do all your training with super light loads. But I got to tell you, people need to take a look at the 20 gauge. I think that is a wonderful option for an awful lot of people.
I will look at that. I will recommend that to some people that are looking for shotgun.
All right, good deal. Listen, I appreciate the call, and be safe out there. Oh, speaking of being safe, here's one. Story out of just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Charges expected against men shot at Monroe business. Now listen to this. Listen to how the media positioned this. Monroe, North Carolina. 2 men were shot in the parking lot of a Monroe business early Friday morning. And in a very unusual move, the shooter called 911 and told the operator he shot someone. Well, I don't really find it to be that unusual, since the shooter was attacked by 2 men who had carjacked him, yanked him out of the car, and pistol whipped him. Didn't work out the way they thought it was going to. He shot one of them 4 times and the other one 1 time. And then he got in his car and beat feet. All right. Then he calls 911 and says, how do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? I had to get out of there. They said, hey, pull over, stop, we'll come see you. And they did. The media, in this case, what is this? WCNC. I love it. It said it was extremely unusual move for the shooter to call 911. No, actually, generally the victims do call 911. They get confused sometimes because they don't understand that the victim can be the one who shot the guys. They're so blind to the self-defense use of guns. In this case, we have a guy getting into his car at the end of work of a shift, and 2 guys come and snatch him out of his car in the parking lot and just start wailing on him, beating the tar out of him. And he takes exception to that. And I kind of understand that. I think I might too. So he shoots them several times. I guess he shot both of them in the butt. I mean, let's just get right to it. That's among other places. They weren't dead. They went to the hospital. But he was able to get himself away from there and save himself. So every time you see a story like this, point out, in fact, if you want to go to WCNC.com, you can see this story. You might just throw a comment in their comment section and say, hey, it's not really unusual that a victim called the police. Now, coming up in just a few minutes here, we're going to get a report from California I think you're going to find interesting. Doesn't matter where in the country you live, because this is where a lot of the action is taking place. An important case. Maybe even a surprising case where a judge ruled our way. And we're going to find out what's it going to mean to you, no matter where you live, and what's it going to mean to gun rights. I'm telling you, the tide is shifting on this a bit, and we're getting some court decisions that are going our way.
Have you taken your family, friends, and kids shooting lately?
You're listening to Tom Gresham's Gun Talk, and we'll be right back.
Want to be a guest on the show? Drop us a line at info@guntalk.com. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All right, 866-TALK-GUN will get you in here. The wheels of justice move slowly sometimes. In a case that I guess looks like to me was filed in 2011, we just had a little bit of movement on it, not decided by any means, but it's pretty interesting. And I think you're going to find this one applies to you no matter where you are. Joining us to talk about that is Gene Hoffman from the CalGuns Foundation. Gene, I'm just looking. Was it about it looks like maybe December 2011 that this Sylvester case was first filed?
Yeah, that's correct. We filed it right before Christmas because we think the California gun owners ought to be able to buy guns more easily.
All right. I mean, basically, this is about a waiting period. Can you explain what the situation is currently?
And California is somewhat unique in that it does have handgun registration, and starting next month, it has long gun registration as well. So, California has a state-administered background check, and, we don't really have a major problem with being able to go through a background check, but, of course, in the modern era, those things can be basically instantaneous. Mm-hmm. Of course, especially where California has a list of all the guns you've bought before. Now, the interesting twist here is that you still have to wait 10 days to pick up a firearm, even though California knows it's you, knows that you have 1, 10, 20 handguns. They still say that you need to cool off. And we basically said to the courts that we thought that was irrational. It wasn't even a rational basis, much less something that would pass intermediate or strict scrutiny. And the important decision we just got a couple days ago from the court in Sacramento was that the judge basically agreed with that core premise, that the state knows you have firearms and you've passed the background check. The state doesn't really have an interest in keeping you from picking up that next gun.
Well, it's irrational. I mean, we could all look at that and say, well, that doesn't make any sense. But more than that, is it unconstitutional?
It's right. It is unconstitutional because, even at the lowest level of scrutiny that's available for the Second Amendment, and we think that should be rare. We think those are only the cases where there are people who've done something that makes them not law-abiding. But even in that instance, these rules have to be narrowly tailored, and they have to have a real proof that they do something to stop things. And of course, if the state knows that you own a gun already, if you were to do something wrong with that firearm, you can use the firearm you already have.
Right,
and the judge understood that.
Okay, so the judge, I guess, what exactly did the judge say and do, and what does it mean as far as this case?
Sure. Well, the state had filed a summary judgment motion. So they were saying that, hey, we all agree on what the facts are. And, their argument was that they still could win on these facts. And what the judge ruled was that they were not entitled to summary judgment because the analysis had to be either intermediate or strict scrutiny. These are the kind of terms from free speech. And that there was no evidence that the state had provided at all to prove that the 10-day waiting period for someone who already is known to the state to own a gun did any government purpose, much less anything important.
Let me ask you, I'm trying to read between the lines, and I wasn't there, but I'm getting the sense that the state kind of approached this as like the hand-waving thing where they say, well, everybody knows that waiting periods are okay.
Yeah, look, California has been in a non-right to bear arms scenario for years. The California Supreme Court has ruled that our self-defense part of the Constitution doesn't include a right to arms. And so legislatures and the Department of Justice here have kind of had a very cavalier attitude about gun owner rights. So, the state basically didn't give any proof other than, well, it's common sense that keeping guns out of the hands of people for 10 days is good. And the problem the state has is, first of all, that's not common sense. There's actually probably a social science argument the other direction that, there are quite a few folks who that 10 days could be deadly if you've just gotten a restraining order or, all of a sudden have a real problem and you don't have a firearm. That's a painful period. The bigger problem, though, I think, for the state is that there is no evidence that people who already own guns are more dangerous by acquiring another gun.
Well, exactly. And the waiting period, and I guess we probably ought to put a little bit of a history spin on this. Originally, there was there's a waiting period so that a background check could be done in the old days of paper files and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, they said it was a cooling off period, and that was part of it. But there was at least possibly a quasi reason because we had slow systems, pre-internet, pre-computers, all of that. Fair enough?
That's right. Until the 1990s, they were definitely shuffling a lot of paper to try to do a background check.
Okay, but now you just can't come up with any reason. When they can basically click a cursor and do a background check and get back to you in seconds, quite literally seconds, and do that, there's no reason in the world for this.
Yes, and it's even worse than that here in California. Recently, California passed a budget appropriation last year after Newtown. There was a profit being run on doing our background checks. So in other words, it's more than necessary to actually run the background check system. They took that money and reappropriated it so that Department of Justice agents are using a daily updated list of people who become prohibited. And they're going to their houses, knocking on their doors, and seizing their guns.
Okay, I've been watching this, following this. Explain exactly what you just said, because people who live out here in the free part of the United States, they're not getting what you just said.
Yeah, believe it or not, the way California works is every day records come in from courts and mental health institutions, and California updates its armed prohibited persons system. Okay. So it adds to that list anyone who is now prohibited, and it looks up in the registration records to see if you have a registered assault weapon or registered handguns and are now on that list. So they actually have a proactive list of everyone in California who's prohibited from purchasing firearms. And what they do is they send out DOJ agents for a knock and talk, and most people don't know better. We'll let them in, and they take their guns.
What should they do instead of letting them in?
Well, they should ask for a warrant, first of all. At no point should you interact with the police without a warrant in place, because if they could have gotten a warrant, they probably would have, and the answer is that they can't. Now, if you are prohibited in California, you shouldn't have ammunition or firearms. Those are felonies, and I think we all understand that, especially when these prohibitions are often temporary. In California, if you have a mental health hold, depending on how bad it is, you can be barred for only 5 or 10 years. And, there's some probably legitimate reasons for those. But the reality is that when the average law-abiding gun owner goes to the gun store to buy another gun, California has multiple real-time 24/7 databases that can check an instance and are using their driver's license to actually look it up and make sure they know who they're talking about.
So this case is going to go forward. Is there anything that the rest of us in the rest of the country could look at this and say, well, this is encouraging, this is suggestive of at least courts starting to pay some attention to some of this and actually recognize Second Amendment?
Court taking this seriously. The reality is a lot of judges do not like the right to arms, but if they're honest about what the Supreme Court has said and what the law means, they're going to have to make sure that the state actually creates evidence. And, like in this case, we aren't challenging, for example, initial waiting periods for someone who doesn't own a gun. And the reason for that is there's some evidence that might actually help on suicides. And, that's not a fight we want to get into in California. Right. But I think what the rest of the nation can look at is that, courts are going to make sure that these things make sense and are actually rational. And a decision out of the Ninth Circuit, as it holds up, will be important for other places because, long waiting periods where you already are known to own firearms just don't make any sense at all.
There you go. And people can get more information at the CalGuns Foundation website, calgunsfoundation.org. There you go. Hey, Gene, thank you so much for bringing us up to speed on this.
Thank you, Tom.
All right, you take care. 866-TALK-GUN. Yeah, courts are starting to pay attention to it. And by the way, what'd you think of this deal where a guy gets carjacked, shoots the bad guys, calls the cops, and the media thinks it's unusual for a victim to call the police? Oh, my gosh. Lots of stuff going on. 866-TALK-GUN.
One machine, one operator. Each machine is run by a single pair of hands. Hands that spend all day, every day, learning the machine inside and out. We don't believe in quotas. The point is crafting faultless ammunition, no matter how long that takes. It's not quick or easy. Being the best never is. Black Hills Ammunition. It started with our hands.
Want your next gun purchase to be fast and hassle-free? Well, at GalleryofGuns.com, you can search through thousands of models from our huge firearms inventory. Find a great offer from a local dealer that includes all fees and taxes. And there's no need to arrange a transfer. Gallery of Guns takes a small deposit on your credit card, and your gun will be at your chosen dealer in as little as 48 hours. Plus, your gun will be covered by our guaranteed lifetime replacement warranty. GalleryofGuns.com. Search, find, buy. It really is just that easy.
Have you ever held a Walther? Walther handguns are an extension of your hand. From the moment you hold the ergonomic grip of a Walther, you feel the difference. Today, Walther continues its long tradition of expertise in firearm design with the introduction of 3 incredible new handguns. The smooth PPQM2, the tough PPX, and the cool PPKS22. Log on now at waltherarms.com. Walther at your favorite retailer.
Professionals who depend on their weapon depend on XS Sights, the leader in American-made gunfighter night sights for personal and home defense. One dot, one solution. See demonstration videos from top trainers and industry leaders at XSSights.com. Upgrade your carry gun, rifle, and tactical shotgun with XS Sights. Contact XS Sights at 888-744-4880 or visit XSSights.com. If you need a gun, you need XS Sights.
Hi, I'm Tom Gresham. For more than 40 years, I've been watching an environmental disaster in my backyard, and it actually impacts all sportsmen in America. I'm talking about the massive loss of land on the Louisiana coastline. The U.S. Geological Survey said the swamps and marshes of coastal Louisiana are among the nation's most fragile and valuable wetlands. That land is disappearing. The Mississippi River Delta hosts as many as 10 million ducks and geese every winter. These are birds which migrate northward through the states, all the way to Canada. The wetlands of the Delta support some of America's best fresh and saltwater fishing. And here's the deal. The wetlands of the Mississippi River Delta are disappearing at a rate of 1 football field every hour. 1 football field every hour. Gone. We can reconnect the river with its wetlands and restore the delta, but we need your help. Please visit vanishingparadise.org. That's vanishingparadise.org.
In the field or on the range, you need a trigger you can trust. For over 60 years, Timney triggers have been trusted by hunters and shooters everywhere. A Timney trigger could mean the difference between a great shot and a miss. Timney triggers are proudly made in the USA and come with a lifetime warranty. To order, go to timneytriggers.com. That's TIMNEY triggers.com.
If Gun Talk is ever preempted by a sporting event on your local station, you can download the current show or any show on our website. Log on to guntalk.com and click listen. Now, more Gun Talk.
All right, back with the 866 Talk Gun. Let's talk to Nathan in Farmington, New Mexico on 3. Hello, Nathan. What's going on? You're an open carry guy, huh?
Yes, sir, and it's a pleasure to talk to you, Mr. Gresham. I listen to you every Sunday.
Wonderful. So tell me, you're in Farmington, New Mexico. Most people would think of New Mexico as being pretty gun-friendly, but I understand that you're having problems with the whole open carry thing there.
Yes, New Mexico should be a very gun-friendly place, but lately they've been kind of moving in the other direction. I carry 24/7. I have never had more than any non-moving violations on my record, no insurance and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And every time I carry, quite frequently, somebody calls the cops saying, hey, this guy's got a gun. The cops come and make contact with me, and then they log my gun. Well, I was talking to my attorney, and according to my attorney, they've labeled me a 1048, armed and dangerous.
Which means what? What does that do for you?
Basically, it means that every time that I make contact with an officer, I get a very shaky hand on the gun talking to me. And these guys automatically assume, because I've been labeled armed and dangerous, that I'm a bad guy. And so it makes for very, very tense and hostile situations every time I deal with the police. They say they log them for my safety and theirs, but the fact is it doesn't make anybody safer when the cops think that I'm a dangerous guy.
Yeah, I understand.
And then they're on edge, so they think now. So now it puts me in a dangerous situation.
Sure, of course. Now let me ask you: have you? If it were me, I would make an appointment with the chief of police, and I would go down and have a sit down at his office without my gun, and just say, "Look, let's talk about this. You and I both know this is legal. And you and I both know I'm being harassed here. So what can we together do to defuse this situation so that your officers are not getting called out on these calls that they're going to end up the same way every time, and it is less dangerous for all of us concerned?" And I just think maybe a sit-down with the police chief might be in order.
You might very well be right. I've spoken to him about this in the past, and in fact, I even called the sheriff's office on a neighboring town before explaining to them these things, and they said they were going to squelch them for my record. But the fact is that they continue.
Okay, but look. Here's the thing, Nathan. You need to do it formally. Make an appointment. Call and say, I need to make an appointment. Explain what it is. I want to talk to you. Don't take your lawyer, okay? Just go talk to the police chief or the sheriff, just individual to individual, and say, look, this is getting to be a problem. Yeah, we both know this is legal. New Mexico courts have already ruled it's legal. They've actually ruled against the police department in Clovis, where they arrested a open carrier in a theater, and he ended up making some money out of it. Yeah, of course, record the conversation. Yeah, but honestly, I'd go talk to him and say, you guys are getting called out for no reason. We need to work out a system because I'm not going to stop carrying legally, and it's just dangerous for your guys and for me. Let's put an end to this thing. I think maybe a conversation is in order.
You don't have to agree with Tom to participate in the show. Call now with any of your concerns about guns, gun rights, or particular firearms, or suggestions for your shooting activity or personal protection. 1-866-825-5486. Gun Talk is coming right back.
All right, back with you here. 866-825-5486 will get you in here. John's calling us out of Houston on 2. Hello, John.
Hi, Tom. How you doing?
I am great. So what are you doing? You say you're renewing a license. Is that your concealed handgun license?
Yeah, the concealed handgun. And my call is really kind of motivated by your discussion with the gentleman from California about why it took so long to get a background check.
Mm-hmm.
I got a notice from the state that I was eligible to renew online and didn't have to take any training because this is a third renewal. And so I did. And after I did so, I checked the status, and it said that I needed to provide some additional documents, which I didn't. So I called the state, and they confirmed that I didn't need to. And I asked them, why does the online system say that I do? They told me they were running about 45 days behind, and it would be about 45 days before I knew if there's anything else required. And so I just was wondering if anybody else in your experience has had any problems renewing in Texas, and any suggestions you might have.
Well, let me ask you this. How long until your permit expires?
Well, it expires in 10 days.
So it's going to expire before they'll renew it for you.
Well, it's already been, we're right at the 45 days right now. Okay. So theoretically, I should be renewed now at their estimate, but the answer is if they don't renew it in 10 days, it will be expired.
I would get on the phone, not email, try to call somebody, talk to them on the phone tomorrow and start working this and really work it hard every single day, see what you can get, okay? I mean, I think you're at the point now where you got basically a 10-day window to get this thing renewed so that you don't have a gap, because you don't want to be carrying without it with an expired license unless they will send you an email that says you can continue to do that. You need that in writing or an email or something. But I would certainly jump on the phone tomorrow with those folks and have a conversation with them, okay?
Any thoughts about it taking so long for them to do a background check? Because I'm with the other gentleman. They ought to be able to do that in seconds.
They're swamped. There are so many more people applying for carry permits these days. It is unbelievable. It has just inundated them. And, I mean, they've got boxes and boxes and boxes. It's not that it takes a long time. It just takes them 45 to 60 days to get to yours so they can do it. That's what's going on here. So listen, I got to scoot. I appreciate the call, sir. Bondo, line 3, Colorado. Go.
Hello, Tom. Been trying to call you a long time.
Glad you made it. I got about a minute, so go, please.
I listen to you every Sunday, but this open carry, I mean, to me, that's disrespectful to the public. That's like them guys showed up down, I think it was Texas, with all their guns. I mean, you don't have to flaunt the fact that you have a gun. I've got several guns, but I don't carry them outside my house.
Well, let me ask you this. Just because you don't do it, does that mean that other people shouldn't do it if it's legal?
I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm just saying, people see a guy with a gun strapped on his side, and right away they get scared.
Yeah,
and the same way with rookie cops. I mean, people that strap on a gun and go out in public, they're taking a chance.
I don't disagree with you there. The other side of that is, and a lot of people would say, but we have to educate the public and the police that good guys carry guns, and the only way to do that is for good guys to carry guns over and over so the public sees it so often that they don't get excited. And when somebody calls the police and says, hey, there's a guy with a gun, instead of sending the police out, what the dispatcher should say is, well, what's he doing? Well, he's just walking around. He's just having dinner. He's having lunch. Okay, well, look, call us back if anything happens, because carrying a gun isn't illegal. They shouldn't. I know the cops are going to say, well, we have to go investigate. No, you don't. You do not. Any more than that, that's like saying we have to investigate if we get a call that somebody's carrying an umbrella. Both of them are equally legal. You don't have to go out and investigate it. The dispatcher should just say, that's not illegal, sir. Call me back when there's a problem. Hey, when we come back, we're going to be talking rifles.
No black helicopters here. Just the facts about gun rights and gun ownership. This is Gun Talk.